Anyways, let's get into Terrifier 2. After being resurrected by a sinister entity, I didn't know that happened. I didn't know that was a part of this. Art the Clown returns to the timid town of Miles County, where he targets a teenage girl and her younger brother on Halloween night. Written and directed by Leone, who did All Hallows Eve and the first Terrifier. Um, did you know that was what was happening?
I had no idea.
Yeah,
I
I
just
thought
realized I thought he was resurrected at the end of the first one, so I had no idea how that even happened.
I thought he
So
just was kind of magical
yeah,
in some ways, and that maybe he this was his like imaginary friend is what I thought it was at first.
right.
This little girl that's with him, who's great. I love them together. Like
Yeah,
it's a great combination.
this right here.
Yeah. Well, the first thing when she first shows up, she's that whole laundromat scene
Oh my god, so
is
great.
so crazy, and that guy that wakes up and sees him like naked with
Playing patty cake.
yeah, that is so crazy. Uh,
Oh man.
it's a great opening sequence. All the mime stuff is so fucking funny because when he doesn't have an eye, right? Like he's
Yeah.
lost his eye, and he takes that guy's eye out and puts it in and like goofs around and shit. It's and whenever I saw that people were getting like so grossed out by this, I was like, what it is they're so used to CGI stuff, right?
Yeah.
So like this very much all looks like practical effects, but it doesn't look real. I
No.
mean, the first of all, Art's abilities are like super strength. He does shit in this movie that like he did shit in the first one that is physically and scientifically impossible for
Right.
someone without powers to have. Um, which I did have a small issue with the magical aspect of this movie. Like I want him to be able to come back like that level of magic. But this stuff goes into like he's are you telling me that Art is a Freddy Krueger? Are you telling me that Art is a Freddy Krueger? Because that's kind of what all the dream shit is.
Yeah.
And
I don't know that we ever got a solid explanation, in my
I'm pretty
opinion.
sure he is a Freddy Krueger or a Beetlejuice of some sort.
Yeah.
Um, he's definitely got something going on. The Halloween store, everything that happens in there is so much fun. I
It's
think
gold.
like
Yeah.
the sunglasses thing where he's putting on different sunglasses. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so fucking funny. And you know the all the effects are wild and crazy. The set design is really well thought out. I thought, like, I watched it with Martha, and she kept telling me it felt like it was an '80s movie, and it's because the set design was all like '80s stuff, and then it also added the soundtrack is like all vaporwave stuff, or like,
Right.
yeah, which was another thing. I love this soundtrack. It was like um a lot of synthwave. I think I saw the Midnight on there and some other ones I
Yep.
recognized, Miami 1984 maybe or something like that. But the guy that did the score is named Paul Wiley, and he is like he's been in multiple bands like industrial kind of music. Like anything you heard that sounded kind of like Marilyn Manson was probably him. Like
Awesome.
because he toured with Marilyn Manson. I think he still does. Like um if he even if, I don't even know if Marilyn Manson does anything aside
I don't
from
know. He got into
assault
a lot of
women.
trouble. Yeah. I don't think he's taking a little break right
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
um yeah, but like I said earlier when we were talking about Barbarian, people say there's not a story here, but there's like 10 times more story than the original Terrifier. um
True.
in fact, if you're dealing with the two cross-secting story, there's like two cross-secting stories. There's like Art, like you get more into what he is, and he's a Beetlejuice or Freddy Krueger, and then the family that is broken and dysfunctional, and I heard that Damien Leone, or however you say his name, that girl, that character of the girl that basically is like Wonder Woman or whatever the fuck. I hated that shit. But
Oh, really?
oh yeah, I know you love superheroes, but keep your
I do.
superhero shit out of my horror movies. Like what but regardless, that character is one of Damien Leone's favorite characters and oldest characters he's had in his like repertoire or whatever. Repertoire? Does it
Repertoire.
repertoire? You say a repertoire? Portfolio.
In
Huh?
his
Quit
portfolio. There you go.
laughing at me. uh, anyways, yeah, but that bothered me. That was like, but anyways, you could also argue that there's a micro story about that deformed woman that was from the first one, the victim.
Yeah, yeah,
There's like three stories going on. So if you say there's no story here, I don't know how you missed all three of them that's happening.
right.
They kind
Take
of
your eyes off your phone and watch the fucking movie.
in fact, and like there's a couple things that I love this thing. It's way too long. Um, it's I don't know why it's 2 hours and 18 minutes. That is fucking ridiculous. And um, it's over. It really is overkill at a certain point. Like some of it, but you know, it is what it is. Uh, I don't like the superhero shit. The final battle is very funny.
Yeah.
It is like a lot of WWF energy, complete with like the Hulk Hogan style comeback. Whenever
Yeah.
Art's just like whipping the boy and his sister, and then she like grabs it and then like takes it back and like Hulk Hogan's her way back, and then it's like back and forth, and then it's literally like an Undertaker match when he knocks her into that grave, which at that point she has been stabbed in the stomach and she should have died. She should have died, and Art should have eaten her brother. That's what the way the movie should have ended. Bleak and terrible. But it didn't, because her fucking wound heals up, and then she becomes a superhero, and then comes
Correct.
out and destroys saves that day. It bothered me. Uh yeah, if you cut a half hour off this thing, some of that shit could go, I'll be honest. uh and and I would give this a 10 out of 10. Just change a couple things. There's tons of cool shit. I wish they hadn't made magic a part of the world so much. Like I do think it's cool that that little girl can like replicate voices. That's cool, but there's things I like. There's so much in this movie that the small amount of things that I don't like don't really touch how enjoyable it is.
Yeah.
But it's I think I gave it an 8 out of 10, but I think once I adjust to Art's new Beetlejuicy attributes, I'll probably give it a higher score. Also, that bitch at the end, did you watch the
Yeah, I watched the mid credits. Yeah, yeah.
mid credit scene? She gave birth to Art's full ass
Oh,
head with a
yeah.
digital, it's like a digital face on it, right? Like,
Yeah.
and that's all I have to say about that. That's all I have to say. It's just that was bad. That was bad and dumb. And
It made me laugh. I was like, I just thought it was funny as
but
shit.
it's one of those things. Another thing, I'll make sure you watch that mid-credit sequence.
So.
Why? I would have enjoyed it more if I hadn't seen that. Like, but it is what it is. What do you say, Ray?
Well, first off, I got to tell you this because I just read this today, and I think it's hilarious. So, Damon Leone and crew, that are involved with the producers, they have sent this movie to be reviewed
Oh, I saw that.
for Oscars, which blew my mind. It made me
Means
laugh.
that people have to watch it.
Yeah, it's the highest level of trolling I could ever think to do, because this movie isn't going to win an Oscar. It's not going to be nominated. But to think that these old fat fucks are sitting at their house and they have to watch Terrifier 2 because it was submitted
They have to
with all the
consider it.
others. They have to consider it. I would love to be in a room with some of these people. But
Yeah.
he's gonna do what?
And it depends, because that's
Yeah.
all the Academy votes on that shit, right?
Yeah.
And like people like Jerry O'Connell are in the Academy, and I saw him gushing about this movie.
Okay, it's making people, if you don't know the story here, it's making some people faint, even vomit in theaters because it is so graphic. So you took your lovely wife, Rebecca, on a date last night.
Not only did I take my
us.
wife, everyone call up CPS as we speak, because I took my two 13-year-old daughters as well. No, you didn't. I did. They have to learn real life, Akbar. They have to know what's out there. It's Halloween season. Wait a minute, you're saying
real life means there's a killer clown in the neighborhood? Is that what
Halloween
you're saying?
season, when you're trick-or-treating, you got to be careful. People are crazy out there. No.
So you take them to a bloody, gory horror movie
You know
to
what?
teach them real life, right?
The movie was great. The theater was packed.
Oh my God.
Not a seat. I kept having to hit refresh because they were running out of seats. It was filled with teenagers. My
Be
kids
honest.
were super scared. I forced them to go.
Did you nearly gag a couple of times?
You know what?
Come on,
It
be
is a
honest.
very graphic film, and it's what they call practical special effects. So it's not computer generated, which is what all these movies use now.
Yeah.
It's practical special effects, so it gets very gruesome. It was a lot of. I can't believe I'm saying this. It was a lot of fun. If you're looking for that this Halloween season, go and see it.
How
No,
gory?
thank you.
How
Yes.
gory? Because I don't like the gore.
Yeah.
Most gory, it's the most gory film I've ever seen. I mean, this is daytime. I can't get into it, but there's a lot of brains.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Let me just put it that way.
compared to alien pop out your stomach gore.
Okay,
how
it
is
makes,
that?
honestly, it makes Alien look like Bambi.
Yeah.
It makes Alien.
So you see why people are fainting and why people are vomiting. Like you understand.
Listen, I didn't faint or vomit. I mean, it's kind of so gory, it's almost like laughable. And listen, it's actually great. It's also what I'm going to call horror mime. Like the main character that goes up there, he's actually like a great mime actor. It's a mime. It's a great mime clown performance. I'm telling you,
You're
as an actor,
overselling it, Jay.
no, as an actor, I have to like talk about the acting, and I want to say the main character is an incredible mime artist. Really good stuff. Great movie. Everyone should see it.
So you're right. Maybe there'll be enough people that do vote for it that would get in, which would just be amazing. So I had to say that, but I wanted it to say something against your thing about her being a superhero. I don't believe that's what they're going for. My thought is, so I think that Art is the embodiment of an evil demon of some sort, and she was the exact opposite spectrum. So her dad foresaw that he had given birth to the savior of humanity, maybe, right? And
Sure.
or a Nephilim, right? That's it. Nephilim is
an angel.
Right? Yeah, exactly. An
Yeah,
angel.
get him out. Get him the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So, like, I thought it was neat that they kind of did that scenario.
It pissed me off. It didn't piss me off to the same degree.
Yeah,
A Dark Song. Have you seen A Dark Song?
I've seen. Yeah, I have. I watched it for one of our
when
reviews.
that angel comes, that one made me give that movie a 1.
Right.
Because it was so CGI and it was so big and it was so, why the fuck did you handle this way? This was different. It gave me similar sort of holy. The bitch looked like she was drawn on a Magic the Gathering card, like
she did.
She looked she looked like that. And characters like that, I don't need them, man. Can the bad guy just win one fucking time? Like they never end it right. Like Halloween Kills, Jamie Lee Curtis is still alive at the end of that. What are we doing? How many years has he been chasing her just to be done in like that?
40, like, right? I guess.
You can't kill her. Like Art the Clown is a maniac who had this girl killed, and then this magical sword. If you bring a magical sword into my horror movie, I'm already a little pissed off. And then you gave her, my dude.
There was a little story there about it. Why their dad was clairvoyant, and then he didn't like his visions and killed himself. So. But you're right. Okay, let's take that out. But I'm just if we're making our own, we should. But I thought I interpreted it as the opposite spectrum of Art, which would be neat, which was neat to me. It's like these two opposing forces are fighting, but I love superhero shit. So
right, I figured it wouldn't bother other people, but it gave me like there's a movie called Terror Tunes that I really love. It's a bad movie, terrible movie, but they do a similar thing at the end. Like the girl becomes like a fucking superhero and then beats the bad guys. It's like, man, just don't do it. Art should have won. That's it. Kill him in the next one or whatever,
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll bring him back because that's his whole. They already did. He's brought his head back. He probably just grows fucking spider legs out. He's Beetlejuice.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty awesome. But as far as this movie, though, you're right. It did not need to be 2 hours at all. But I loved that it was. I had nothing to do that night, so I watched the whole thing. and I sat here just giggling and clapping, and I
You
was like,
didn't need to take a little break from the
no, I watched the whole
extreme
thing.
gore. Like I just needed to take a tone break, so I watched it. I watched an hour and then I watched the rest of it the next night,
Yeah,
just to like get some night court in there, get a little Dr. Quinn.
yeah, man. I just watched the whole thing, and I enjoyed it. But you're right. At one point, I stopped it to see how long it
Uh,
was. I saw 45 minutes to go.
and it's
And I was
like
like,
the
Jesus.
kills are really cool, but they are
Yeah,
so long that it was reminiscent of like that. Have you ever seen the story of Ricky, or like one of these gore movies that like just really they take it too long? It's like
yeah,
you're on it too, like one of those sleepaway camp movies. There's a girl that is getting shoved down in a porta potty, and
yeah.
you remember that? I don't know
Uh-huh.
if you watched that one with us or
I've
not,
seen that one. Yep.
but it takes
It goes on
forever,
forever.
and the
Yeah.
gurgling sound goes on forever, and it's like, all right, man, yeah, I mean, you get the point. But I
In
do.
this one, you're right. The girl in the bedroom.
mm,
I was like, that was like 20 minutes, dude. I
yeah,
mean, literally 20 minutes
well,
because they were, yeah,
are you talking about the one that was still kind of alive and her mom
yeah.
came in?
And her mom comes home.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, that I read that scene alone took the longest and was like the most pain in the ass, because they had to like puppet it, like they had a thing hooked up to make it look like it was breathing, and like there was
right.
people under that bed operating this like very expensive
I
you
love
know
practical effects, though, man. To me, there's
mm,
nothing better. I think you're right. These young kids today have been spoiled with
mm,
this CGI stuff because they're like, oh, that's not scary. Or like,
right.
watch a motherfucker's face get ripped off in practical
Yeah.
effect.
Yeah,
It's
and like, well, just what's been popular. I mean, even though there's disturbing images in like Midsummer or any of these modern horror movies, it's
right.
usually just a punch in the face, just one thing, and then there's a lot of mood and atmosphere and all this stuff. This thing is like, I mean, there is a section of it that isn't even one like it's not even anything really happening where he machine guns the shit out of all these people. It's
Yeah,
like it takes no time at all, and then he's on to the next thing. It's just constant, and I feel bad for people that watched it in the theater, because you, that is a long time to not take a piss, um, and you're gonna miss something. I mean, because there's
yeah,
very few moments where it slows down.
right.
Um,
I gotta say, what's the guy's name that plays Art? I forget his
I
name.
didn't write it down. I didn't write any names down. This is
But
kind of
he I didn't either. He was fantastic. He in both of those movies because I watched Terrifier last month. At the
Mhm.
beginning of the month. That was my first Halloween movie because I hadn't seen it in a year, and I thought, you know what, that new one's coming out. I
Yeah.
might as well watch. And it is a good fucking movie. It's
Yeah.
just good.
And I'll tell you what, he makes that role, because have you seen
Yeah,
All Hallows Eve?
I have not seen that one. That's one I haven't seen.
That has the original Terrifier short film in it, but it
Uh-huh.
also has wraparound segments with art. It's a different actor. But even then they kind of let you know that he's paranormal. His eyes glow at one point. So um
Is it worth watching? All Hallows Eve.
it's a solid anthology. It's nothing great. I mean, uh there's an alien segment I believe is pretty bad. They always throw like an alien segment in these things, and
Yeah.
generally for the most part it's pretty bad, but it might be one of the good ones.
Okay.
I know that the art segment is the Terrifier is the highlight. It's like the end of it, and there's a couple good stories in there. It's probably like a 6 or a 7, I'd say.
I wasn't sure, so I didn't check it out
Yeah.
because I'd only ever seen Terrifier and I didn't want to ruin it if you know what I mean. But what my point was overall is like this guy makes you're right that he makes this character intense and he
Mhm.
can turn on a dime, man. He's so good.
Yeah,
He
it's
can be
like
doing
David
goofy shit.
Thornton. Is that his name? David Allen Thornton or something like that?
I don't know. I
I'm
didn't
getting it
know,
wrong, probably.
but he's great. I liked in this new one the final girl. Like I said,
Mm,
I thought she was really great. I love the brother. Usually they'll get you a kid in these kind of low budget horror movies. Well, this one's higher budget, so I
mm.
guess. But he was solid. I really was rooting for him a lot. I love the school shit in it. There was like that typical high school part too, which is
Oh
cool.
yeah.
I love the way it was shot, man. The music, like you
Mhm.
said, God, the music is so good in this
Oh
movie.
yeah.
I was into it from. You're right, Martha was right. '80s movie feel the whole ride.
Yeah, by
Um,
design for sure.
yeah,
The only thing that seems modern is their cell phones. So
right. Yeah. So, but I gave it. There were, like you said, there were parts I would take out. I gave it an 8 out of 10. It is going to be, if they come out with a double pack for me, I will pick it up day one. It'll add it to my horror collection.
yeah.
I'd love to have both of these so I can watch them next Halloween, because I'm sure they'll do a third.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
I do think it says a lot, even though the Halloween movie that came out this year, Halloween Ends, was panned by a lot of people hated it. Some people liked it. You liked it, I know, and I have a
I
feel
liked it. It was different, man. I liked it a lot. Yeah.
I
So,
have a feeling that I would like it too. But just to say that a movie trumps a Halloween movie at Halloween, like that says a lot because this
yeah.
movie took over. It was the Halloween movie for sure this year.
Now, the last I checked, and you guys, feel free to drop in the comments when you're watching this what it actually has become. But as of, I believe, last week, it was like $5.1 million gross worldwide on a
Right.
$250,000 budget, which is unheard of. I mean, that's
Wow.
big shit right
I
there.
can't
So,
believe that they made this movie on that amount of money.
yeah. So,
That's incredible. That's
yeah.
must have had a lot of people come in to get involved in this.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I recommend it. If you want to watch it and you don't want to watch it in the theater, get yourself a Screenbox trial.
Right.
It's free, and I think that while you're there, but I already canceled mine. I should have watched this before I canceled it. But there's an It documentary on the '90s miniseries on there.
I really wanted to watch that too. So I left mine open. I'm going to check it out too. Yeah.
Yeah,
That looks really good.